A very common confusion that I come across when it comes to first home buyers is they believe that the higher their deposit, the more borrowing power that they have. That's not actually correct. This information is for those who are looking at starting their journey with purchasing their first home. Many first home buyers believe that all banks are going to say the same, meaning that if one bank says that you can borrow 500,000, then the next bank's going to say the exact same thing and also say that you can borrow 500,000. People think that banks set safe limits because that's just what they should do. However, that's not actually how the system is designed. Borrowing limits are based on your financial circumstances, meaning that when we're looking at borrowing limits, we're looking at things like, do you have any credit cards? What's your income looking like? Do you have any car loans? Do you have a HEX debt? Are you borrowing with someone else or are you borrowing as a single person? Do you have any children? All of these factors come into play when we're looking at overall borrowing limits. Your actual deposit is not going to increase your borrowing limit. Borrowing capacity is a ceiling, it's not a recommendation. Just because a bank says that you can borrow a certain amount doesn't necessarily mean that you should. You need to make sure that your new borrowing limit actually fits your lifestyle and it's a wise choice. This typically applies to anyone who is looking at borrowing money. However, it's most important for first home buyers because this is the first time that they have gotten themselves into quite a large amount of debt. And they need to realize that once they are in this sort of debt, that things are going to change in regards to their lifestyle. We need to also consider things like, do they want to have children in the future? Do they want to potentially change careers in the future? We need to put all of these factors into place to make sure that you're not going to be a slave to your new mortgage. The real world impact of all of this actually shows up after people buy. So sometimes people are starting to lose their freedom after they buy because they have actually committed to such a large loan amount. So things like travel plans get put on hold, certain things like the new car, all of that sort of stuff seems to be getting put on hold because some people are going too far into their borrowing limits and therefore their freedom has then disappeared. However, sometimes on the flip side of this, the opposite can happen. If you time your purchase right and you don't go to your absolute max borrowing capacity, then it can actually fit around your lifestyle. A common mistake that I do come across is people seem to think that because a bank has said that they can purchase for up to 800,000, that they then set their expectations for a purchase price of up to 800,000. Just because the bank says that you can purchase to 800,000 doesn't necessarily mean that you need to. Remembering that you're wanting to keep your overall borrowings into that comfortable level so that you can actually continue to live the lifestyle that you want to live. Waiting too long for that perfect deposit. If you've decided that you're going to wait to be able to build your 20% deposit, you need to remember that that's going to take time. While you're building that 20% deposit, other things are changing, such as the market. So sometimes the market is going to increase a lot faster than what your savings will. Don't compare your approval amount to your friends. We've got to remember that at the end of the day, everyone's application is going to be completely different. Just because your friends have been able to borrow for say 800,000 doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be able to. It could mean that you've got credit cards, you've got car loans, you may have some children. Everyone's circumstances are completely different, so do not compare yours to your friends. For example, a couple with a household income of 120,000 may be able to borrow up to 680,000 if they don't have any other debts, whereas a couple with a combined income of the same, being 120,000, but they may have a credit card or a car loan, may only actually be able to borrow up to 580,000. Smart home buyers treat timing, deposit, and borrowing capacity strategically, not reactively. They focus on sustainability, flexibility, and life planning over chasing the bank's maximum borrowing power. This may sound scary and quite stressful, but just remember that just because a bank has given you your absolute maximum borrowing limit doesn't necessarily mean that you have to take that. You need to remember that you're wanting to purchase your first home and structure your lending in a way that's not going to affect your lifestyle too much. You still want to be able to live the life that you're currently living. Buying below your maximum limit, it's smart. It's not a missed opportunity. Many buyers live comfortably while others are stretched. It doesn't come down to luck. This all comes down to strategic planning. Borrowing for your first home is not about pushing the limits. It's about building a foundation that you can live comfortably on. Take your time, plan wisely, and your first home can be structured around your current lifestyle and something that you can live comfortably with. If you want numbers based on your situation, that's what we cover in a finance strategy session. There's a link below if you wish to book in a strategy session. And if you do like this content, feel free to subscribe.